Good morning, masterminds. Welcome to another work vlog. It's Saturday, August 21st. I'm tired. I've been working a lot. And because I've been working a lot, I have a lot of notable experiences to share. Some of them the most stressful incidents so far in this job as a driving instructor.
I did fall asleep late last night. It was my day off yesterday. I'm happy I have another day off tomorrow because the new instructor I'm training had to reschedule to Wednesday, so that's going to be a very long work day after my 3 students. Yeah, most of my tiredness just comes from, just being overworked. Yeah, just trying to make money, trying to survive here. I'm not getting younger. It's just a compound tax on my liveliness. Working all the time, not getting enough rest. Like, what's the saying? You're feeling tired, or still feeling tired from yesterday's tired. And the day before that, and the day before that. So, notable experiences. Looks like I have a correction to make from the last work vlog. It says here, it happened a few times since I started working as a driving instructor that students don't have exact change when paying, and I ask on my time card to keep the change. And I put here, I don't know if I mentioned this in the previous work vlog, but there was a day my student and I saw a huge group of bicyclists taking up the road, as well as a huge white supremacist biker gang in a rich white neighborhood. This was back in like January. On June 17th, I was notified of a 5-star Yelp review with nice comments about me. That student that barely talks passed his test. Wow. On June 18th, a parent texted me that her daughter, my student, passed the drive test with 0 errors. She left a 5-star Yelp review with nice comments mentioning me. On June 19th, I had all adult students, 19 years old, 27 years old, 19 years old. June 23rd, I dropped my mask in the driving school parking lot before I turned my stuff in at the office. I didn't notice, so it was staying overnight here on the floor. June 24th, my mask was still where I dropped it. I put it in my car to launder at home. June 25th, I accidentally tricked my coworker that trained me. I unlocked my car as he was searching for his car, pressing his key fob. He walked over to my assigned car and got confused why I wasn't responding to his control. After my first lesson, a fly entered my car and attacked me. During my third and final lesson, a Karen, an old white-haired lady, honked at my student for not rolling through stop signs in a predominantly white and rich neighborhood. I immediately flipped her off and she surprisingly stopped bitching. June 26th, I had my last lesson with that car enthusiast student. He left a 5-star Google review that stated, Noel is an excellent instructor. Noel is an excellent instructor and a fellow car enthusiast. During my break before my third student, I witnessed a fight on a sidewalk. Some dude got his face punched in. The other drove off. A woman was screaming stop the entire time. June 28th. While we were reviewing arm signals, my second student hurt herself by sticking her arm into the glass. Goofy students. On June 30th, I checked my driving school's Yelp page. Someone asked a question about if we have instructors that are good with adults with driving anxiety/fear. My boss recommended me in his answer, and I laughed. More on that later. So I've been getting quite a few complaints as of late. Later that day, a parent offered me a water bottle and the use of his restroom. I only accepted the water. July 2nd, a parent texted me that her son passed the drive test. She told me she'd leave a wonderful review on Yelp, but I never saw it. Fucking rich bastards. Don't have time to be thankful. July 6th. My boss pulled me aside. He told me he received a few calls in the last week that I've been a bit intense during certain lessons. He then told me he knows I take my job very seriously and I'm an awesome instructor, but I should work on my approach with softer students. When he mentioned it, I was thinking, oh shit, I can think of 3 exact students that got maybe a little afraid with me. July 7th. Driving at 35 miles per hour with windows down and the student in the driver's seat. Okay, so a big bee flew into the space between my right eye and my sunglasses, hitting both. I freaked out, ending up putting sanitizer on my eyelid. I thought the bee left the car. I went to scratch my neck. Then the bee flew around me and left. That was scary. And then the Japanese student learning stick and his mom tipped me $30. My biggest tip yet. Happens very rarely when I get tipped. And then my boss gave me another new instructor to train. July 8th. A student texted me that she passed her test. And then when I got back to the office at the end of my work shift, my coworker told me his last student smelled like a bean, cheese, and onion burrito. I especially laughed when he said the student needs deodorant and is a crap driver. July 15th, I flipped off another driver unreasonably honking at my student and me. On my commute home, I crashed into a plastic bin on the freeway. I didn't see it in time to avoid it because, when I was merging onto the freeway from the entrance ramp, the cars were blocking my view. They weren't swerving out of the way of anything, so I just, lane changed over, and there it was. The impact was made on Henry's bumper on the front right. Henry is fine. The best way I can describe the damage is the paint darkened where impact was made. Luckily, I slowed down to 40 miles per hour because I merged fast. On July 20th, I almost got into a really bad crash. So my student and I were practicing center left turn lanes where you turn onto the road that has that lane. The student rolled into oncoming traffic from the left. He decided to speed up into the regular lane when there were cars coming from the right. I had to act fast. We were losing control and moving too quickly. July 22nd. I received from my bosses my first complaint in writing. The day before, I had a student that is just crappy at driving. He took my advice to reschedule his next lesson. It would have been with me the next day. Or no, not the next day, but a few days later. He also used the phone call to complain about me, because he called in to reschedule. He received a free lesson. I do not believe the customer is always right. I filled out the instructor response section and turned it in. Here's a picture of the complaint form. I received key lime LaCroix from my last student's mom that day because she noticed I was hot and dehydrated. I was even wearing black and gray that day. Okay, I have to get going to my students, so I'll continue when I have my break.
5 hours later.
My first two students are decent drivers. The last one pissed me off, though. She said she knew how to navigate without the maps to get home. We could have gotten here fucking 15 minutes earlier if she just... So fucking stupid. I don't understand. Waste my time. Anyway. Let's see. To pick up where I left off. July 23rd. When I got to the school, my boss asked me if she could send a copy of my complaint form response to the family. She told me the mother is the one who called and screamed on the phone. I agreed with my boss that it's always the parents of the kids who can't drive. Mind you, the student is 22 years old, and as I learned from my boss, already did 6 hours with another driving school. And then I had a 70-year-old student. He was surprised by my youth and ended up being super thankful for all I taught him. I gave him a hug because he was very nice. He and his wife are the second old couple that invited me into their home. I always stay by the front door. July 26th, as I was having a break near my last student's home, I saw a car following a kid walking on the sidewalk. The woman was telling him to get in the car. Just in case, I video recorded what I saw. When the kid got in the car, I rushed on over and flagged that vehicle down. The woman told me she's his mom. I asked the kid if that's true, and he nodded. So I was like, okay. Just looks very suspicious. July 27th. I had another bad Indian driver. She left me a final surprise before the lesson ended. She's turning left into her neighborhood. She mounted the barrier next to us. I yelled, "Holy fuck." July 30th. My first student, my third lesson with her, told me her friend, a former student of mine, recommended me to her. When I returned to the office during my second lesson, because my student needed to use the restroom, I found a printout of a 5-star Yelp review with nice comments from a former student of mine. Part of it reads, "We even went to my DMV driving area and drove around it on my last lesson." I felt bad about that because my boss has highlighted that part. So later I texted my boss as an apology, explanation, and understanding of any disciplinary action needed to be taken. My female boss responded, we know you use discretion, Noel. No action needed." I felt really guilty. Because we're not supposed to go near DMVs and practice with a student. But it was the weekend. It was close by, but we weren't inside, the actual test area. Like, deep inside the test area. We were in the test area, but... I wasn't showing them the routes. July 31st. My second student couldn't handle my criticism. She told me I give up and I don't care. As we went through the practice test, she failed. She even cried after she said I give up. I noted this incident on my time card, just in case I received another complaint. I didn't. And then somehow I ripped my pants that day. I discovered two tears along the back pockets, but I bought a new pair of that exact Levi's pants. Yeah. August 2nd. Before I drove to work, I asked my boss for a certificate of employment. He prepared it, and I picked it up during my second break. Perhaps in a future vlog I'll explain why I did that. August 5th. I gave my bosses a Blue Apron bottle of rosé for my first work anniversary. My female boss texted, "Noel, thank you so much for the wine, but we should be celebrating you. The impact you have made at is unexplainable. Still can't believe you have been here a year. Thank you for all you do and just being you." I told her it's a pleasure to work with them and thanked her for the opportunity. After work she texted, "Noel, you are the best." August 7th. I had a very bad day. That was awful. I had my first major collision with another vehicle. Student was driving, obviously. We were practicing backing up along a curb. I noticed an Amazon van parked in the street, not the curb behind us. I told my student to be cautious of it, so we were backing up. She wasn't really looking over her shoulder out the back window. I didn't catch it in time, and we damaged our car more than the Amazon van. I was too trusting of her. I was too trusting of the student too. Yeah. The Amazon van wasn't all that damaged, but our car, yeah. Pretty big dent. Multiple, it was like his little crinkled back bumper area near the gas cap tank thingy. Maybe I'll share a photo. We exchanged all necessary information. I called and texted my boss. When he responded later, his message was just okay. The mother of my second student was very impressed by my thoroughness in simulating the drive test. She told me she'll put in a good word about me. As I exited their neighborhood, I encountered a vulture on the road. Had a red head and dark feathers. My second and third students, both South Asian, were bad drivers. One of them did 24. Which one was it? Was that the last lesson? Pretty sure that was the second lesson that day. So she made 24 mistakes during the practice test. And then, yeah, the third lesson that day, my last one, that was I treated that first lesson, or no, I treated that second lesson she had teaching her first lesson content. Yeah, I had to retrain her. August 8th. Because I only had one appointment the next day, a DMV appointment, my boss asked me to teach the daughter of his mom's caregiver. He mentioned she's an adult and the lesson wouldn't have to be 2 hours. I agreed to it. So the next day, August 9th, when I arrived at the office, my boss told me she's Filipino, speaks good English, and has been in the US for about 5 months. I apologized again for the collision. Both bosses told me it happens. I went to my boss's mom's house to pick up the student. We didn't finish the full lesson plan, but it went well because she had a few lessons in the Philippines. She was particularly good at braking smoothly. The mother of my second student gave me a bottle of water before leaving to the DMV. And then it was my first time at the Gilroy DMV. Gilroy DMV. My student passed with only one error. We pranked his mom by telling her he failed. Yeah. August 11th was my second time having a 32-year-old Indian lady. Her fingers were really stained with spices. She wants to have 2 more lessons with me because she knows I'm worth the money. I don't know if I saw her in my schedule in the next few weeks. So, she didn't learn much on her first lesson with another instructor. I had to use her second lesson as a restart, and she learned so much. August 13th. A fly was pestering my student and I as we went over the DMV score sheet. When I returned to the office at the end of my work shift, I caught up with a coworker I trained. We discussed ways to get every instructor on the same page because there are some that do more work than others. When we initially went inside the office to talk, we ran into another instructor that made us uncomfortable. She's an old white woman who's anti-mask. I think anti-vax too. She discovered I'm Noel and told me students assume I'm a woman when I go to pick them up for the first time. August 14th was my longest work day. At that point, I reported 8 hours 15 minutes on my time card. So 6 hours 15 minutes in appointment time, 2 hours in travel time. I wasted time with my last student getting his permit at another location, so I added on time to get paid more since that student was driving. And then August 16th, when I got to the office, my boss asked me to train the daughter of his mom's caregiver again. I agreed and had my longest workday yet, and my first time giving 4 lessons in one day. So I reported 9 hours 45 minutes on my time card, 7 hours 40 minutes in appointment time, 2 hours 2 minutes in travel time. I can't select the exact time in on my time card in app, that is. I only did 1 hour 40 minutes with the caregiver's daughter since I don't have to do the full 2 hours. And then August 17th, I had a Greek girl that has so much energy because Greeks are electric. She talked the whole lesson. She's a decent driver, but she can't shut up. Her weirdest behavior is to lift her left foot onto the seat and drive like that. Yeah, it's all of the notable experiences as of late.
Risotto done. The creme fraiche adds extra richness. I've been adding it as of late. I like herbs de Provence. Excellent addition as well. I ran out of tomatoes, sadly. Okie dokie, masterminds. The vlog ends here. I may see you earlier, but expect me on Friday, August 27th. We will be going to the Hella Mega concert. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, be smart for your heart. Good night.